Hi everybody. Okay, so today we are getting ready to continue our observing of our bean seed that's been growing for a couple of weeks now. And some of us have had good success and other people haven't. And I've had good success this year. Sometimes in the classroom when we grow them, sometimes mine doesn't work and I have to use one of the backup beans that I had for other people. So sometimes that happens for us. So if yours isn't working, that's okay. What I've said to some parents before is that you can follow my bean seed, follow my story, and do the diagram from what you see onto your bean seed story, okay? So being ready for today, what you need is your bean seed bag, have it ready and handy, and have your compare and learn sheet from last week. Remember this one that we did? Okay, we're going to continue filling out the bottom few lines on that. So have that one ready. You also will need your plant vocabulary cards that I sent out this week. Okay, there's only 2 of them on there, and we'll talk about what that looks like in a bit. And you also need, always have handy your word vocabulary. It's like having your science duotang at your desk. Remember, we would have all of these in our duotang. So when you come for a science lesson here with me on video, then have all your science ready because you know we're going to use the information we previously learned. That's what we always do in class. So have your vocabulary sheet ready so you know how to spell some words, and have your fact information sheet ready. And this one also, remember our sequencing bean? Yeah, and that shows you the growth we've been having. And you also did really well with our embryo inside our seed that we learned about last week. So always have those handy and have a look through, have a look-see, just to refresh and bring it back to your mind. Think about the words that are important to know for our science. So if you need to stop there, also have your magnifying glass ready. I always have mine is sitting right here in front of me so that I'm ready to go. Okay, so have a pencil, your magnifying glass, have your bean seed booklet, your bean seed, and also on the instructions this week, you also need to have your solo cup. If you have a little planter, maybe you've used it from a nursery, you've had it before from a plant nursery, you can use one of those or anything else you want to plant your seed into, because today we're going to be planting our growing seed into, so this is kind of handy. Now make sure that mom or dad does this bottom part. I want a hole poked in the bottom for drainage. Otherwise this will fill up with water and it's never going to evaporate enough for our plant to grow properly. So we want to make sure that we have a little bit of drainage in the bottom. So when you're finished, you want to plant it into some kind of a plate or alcan foil or something to hold that water that's coming out. Don't put it on a nice countertop or a coffee table because the water will come out. And I just want to make sure that we're safe with that, okay? So mom and dad, pair of scissors, probably poke that hole right through the bottom. Also have a little sprinkle of pebbles in the bottom, whatever you have for drainage, rock. Parents know what I'm speaking about there. And in class we would have some and we would put them in the bottom. And then we put our soil on top. But when we get there, we'll be ready. Okay, so have all of these things ready today. And when you're ready, come on back and we'll begin. Okay, so looks like you're ready to go. So let's talk about a little review from last week. I asked you to have all your papers ready. So let's pull out our compare and our learn sheet. So remember last day, we talked about living things and non-living things and the difference between them. And we know living things need certain elements to survive. And we are people, we survive, animals and plants. We all need the same amount of elements. We need air. We need water. We need to be able to reproduce. We need to grow and change. And we need nutrients to feed us, right? So those are all still very important to think about as we continue our journey here. And so on our bean seed sequence, we're following our story in a sequence of what's been happening with our bean seed, right? So we last left off at, I think it was number 4 or 5. We were at the 4th or the 5th. It depended on where your bean seed was at in its story. So last time I know for sure we left off at embryo, where it was still inside. The stem and leaves are growing inside, and we can see a little bit of that happening. And we saw that the stem was popping out and more roots were happening. So for the sixth sequence step, fourth was embryo. Let's back that up. Fourth was embryo. Fifth was leaves and stem were growing bigger. And the seed is opening up. So can you write that down, please, on the fifth line, if we haven't already? Leaves and stem grow bigger. Open up, seed. Just sort of short notes we're taking. These aren't proper sentences. These are just short notes we're taking, okay? And these are for you to use when you write inside your bean seed story. So last time for that fifth one was leaves and stem grow bigger, open up, seed. So the seed is opening up, okay? And so let's see. Let's take a look now. For the sixth one, write down the word soil. And I'm pretty sure that is in your word vocabulary. It is. It's in the second column. So your word vocabulary there. Look up soil. And we want to say soil. Plant the embryo for more nutrients. And I would write that on the board at school. But I'm giving it to you by words here. So it is plant, okay, soil, plant the embryo for more nutrients. And that's a spelling word that you would have had on, not a spelling word, but your vocabulary, okay? So there we are. And so we're at the sixth stage. And so it's really important that we've been really observing the process of, what is it called? Germination. That's right. The process of germination. And we had our seed, right? We had our initial seed. We started with that. Now this is in the soil, but we saw it in our baggie. So seed. And then the next thing we noticed was the root started to come out. It's looking and searching for water because we exposed it to some light in our baggie and hung it into our windows. So it's getting the light and a root came out. And this is the stage we're at now. This is where mine is at. I hope yours is there. It's not in the soil, but it's in our baggie doing this. And so we see a big root system is happening. We see the stem. We see the leaf. The leaves are inside, and part of the seed is now breaking off because it's getting too big to be inside there. So it's starting to open up. Okay, something, maybe we can compare it to a baby chick. It's like it's in an egg and it has nutrients in there. We keep it warm and then it hatches out because it's growing bigger and bigger. The space now is too small, so the baby chick has to burst out of that eggshell. Well, our baby plant embryo is facing the same thing as a baby chick would. It's had all its nutrients inside. We've given it air and water and sunlight, and it's bursting out of its seed. It's ready to come out now and receive more nutrients and more sunshine so it can grow. Okay, so that's why those are important to have close by you there. So let's take a look. Now I'm excited to show you. I'm going to take out my bean seed here and have your bean seed story ready so you have your diagram ready to go. Wow. Well, let's take a look. Here we are. Wow. Look at this guy. Look at the root system. Wow. It started with one little root and now look at them all. Look at that. And I noticed that the stem was nice and strong, growing really nice and tall there. It's still attached inside that seed coat. And I noticed that the leaves are popping out big time, right? Look at those guys popping out. They're getting too big and they want to open up. And if I show you closely, can you see? I can see it here. I'm just going to try to angle that because I'm backwards to you guys. That very clearly at the back. Do you see this? This is the leaf. This is the seed coat. It's starting to peel away now. You see that peeling away? And this all happens underground. we never usually see this because we plant a seed in the soil and we water it and we wait a couple of weeks and we start to see it come out pop of the dirt. But here we got to watch the growth all the while in our baggie, and that's why it's such a fun observation to do for science. So you get to see what nature's doing underground. Okay, so that's pretty spectacular. I'm just going to hold it still for one more minute. So we'd probably be drawing your root systems down, right? If you're doing your diagram, look at all of those roots there. And the stem, yeah, stem at the back, see that there? Still attached inside that seed coat, but it's getting pretty flaky. Like if I don't want to pull on it because it's not ready to be opened up yet, but it will be soon. Okay, good. So you can always pause the video as well if you need to take a good look at that to diagram that. Remember to label, right? The roots, the stem, the seed coat, and then tell me in your sentences below what you're observing. And I want to see science words there. Full sentences, proper punctuation. Okay. So do you see any changes happening in your seed? Right? Is yours opening? And all of these roots are feeding directly into one base of the stem. They all go into the one entry point. So they're absorbing water, all this while going up inside, and they take the water up inside the stem and it's starting to feed the plant. So if you looked with your magnifying glass, wow, you can see more. Sometimes you can see little hairs on the roots, which the hair helps to absorb the water and the nutrients. We're going to be giving it in the soil. Yeah, it's quite a system. And the leaf is just beautiful. If you look at that, you can really see it peeling away through the magnifying glass. So I hope you can still look and observe through the magnifying glass. Okay, that's pretty exciting. So now we're ready to plant this guy. We're going to plant our bean seed. So what I have prepared for us today is I have my cup that I showed you. Remember, the hole is on the bottom and your rocks are already inside. So make sure you get those inside. I've already got a few cups of soil here. So I'm just going to show you that I'm just going to pop it inside there. Give it a little tap, tap, tap. Yep, oh, it's about halfway. I still need some more soil. So you want to just judge that and see how it looks. Being very careful. Might get a little messy. That's okay. We can always clean it up, right? Oh, I didn't need all of that soil. That's good to know. Okay. So I filled it up to the top. See? There it is, right? So then I'm going to make more mess and I'm going to make a hole with my fingers nice and deep. We don't want to leave it at the top because those roots, they need to be way down in there. Okay, way down in there. And it's just be gentle with it, but you can put it down inside. See how I just placed it down inside? And oh, it disappeared already because the soil covered it up. But it's just down inside there, okay? And then I'm just gonna cover it up with some soil on the top and just pat it gently, just gently, okay? So now it looks like there isn't anything in there because we buried the seed inside the soil. And I just have a little bit of water ready to go so that we can give it that water. It needs water right away when we do that. It's been in the baggie, it's been absorbing some of the water from the paper towel, but it's time now to give it some really good water. It needs a good amount of water, and now it can start to absorb the nutrients from the soil. This is really nice soil, okay? And so when you water it, mine did, the plant appeared, so maybe you can put a little more dirt over top of it, just a little more dirt. Or soil, actually. Soil, remember, dirt is mud. Remember how we talked about mud in our story and we learned that the soil has more nutrients involved in it. Okay, so I covered it back up again and now I'm ready to put it outside. Bring it back in for a little while. It might still be kind of chilly outside until it starts to grow and pop up. You can put it on your windowsill still if you're growing it from inside your place in a windowsill. You can put it on your back deck. You can put it on your patio, anywhere that it's safe. And I'm going to pop it into my fun little chair here. Okay, it's just going through the center. But I know it's going to grow up and I'm going to use the backing for the long plant that's going to grow because it's going to be quite tall. So some of us might need to even have a stick put in a while, popsicle stick to start with because it's going to get quite tall, and then hopefully you can plant it in your garden later if you have a garden. If you don't have a garden, when this grows too big, then you can get another container and that will hold it better and you can replant it into there. Okay, so please go ahead and fill in all of your work if you haven't done so yet. And the vocabulary cards for this week, all you need to do is just cut those out and match the definition. So it's right beside it. So last time we talked about oxygen and carbon dioxide. And oxygen is something living things breathe in, we do. And what do we give out? Carbon dioxide. What do the plants breathe in or take in? Yeah, they take in the carbon dioxide. And what do they give back out? The oxygen. Yeah. And next week, like I said at the beginning, we're going to talk about photosynthesis, which is the process of how a plant gets the nutrients from the water and the soil and the sunshine and how it makes its own food inside itself. So it's finished in the seed coat, but so now it's out there, it still needs to have some plant food. So it's called photosynthesis, and we'll hear more about that next time. Okay, so enjoy planting, clean up your mess, and have fun and watch your plant grow from there. And you can add that onto your bean seed booklet that you've planted it, okay? And it's no longer in the baggie, but if you still have some pages left, I'd like you to document when you see it pop up through the soil. How many days will it take? So keep watching your bean seed from the dirt, okay? And we'll talk more next time, and hopefully I can show you how mine has been growing next time. Okay? Bye for now, everybody.